Last summer, we tested the Hyundai Elantra Preferred, and we think that it is one of the best affordable compact sedans you can buy on the market. Today, we have something very similar. This one, however, is the 2025 model. It's the luxury trim, and it's a hybrid. Let's check it out. So for 2025, the base model Elantra starts at about 25,000 Canadian dollars. The preferred trim we tested last summer, which had the tech package, is now about 29 grand. And then we have this, the luxury trim. The luxury trims, you get an option between the gas engine or a hybrid powertrain. The hybrid powertrain is a $2,500 option, which makes this as tested price close to about 34,000 Canadian dollars. With the same amount of price, effectively the same amount of price, you can also get the N-Line version if you prefer something more sporty. And of course, we also have the Elantra N, which will cost you about 42 grand starting, but that is a whole lot more fun. In terms of the exterior, the Elantra got a facelift back in 2024, so for this 2025 model year, it's carryover. Standard LED headlights, and you get your turn signals down here. But in my opinion, the front end just doesn't look all that great. Frankly, it's a little ugly. In my opinion, I think the front bumper design on the N-Line or the N looks so much better. It looks so aggressive, it looks so cool. But this one, just not really it. I will say, however, that this Amazon gray color looks pretty good, especially in certain lightings. It shows off as a green instead of a gray. I think it looks great. Over to the side, the luxury trim gets keyless entry and turn signals on the side mirror. In terms of suspension and wheel setup, the front end gets a set of McPherson strut and the rear gets a multi-link setup. The multi-link setup is tied to the hybrid powertrain, so if you get the gas engine version, you will get torsion beam setup in the rear instead. Now, the wheels are 17-inch in size and they're machine finish. In my opinion, they look pretty good. The back end of the Elantra Luxury featured the light bar taillight that goes all the way across, and I think it looks great at night. No visible exhaust tips for this trim. For that, you need to get either the N-Line or, of course, the Elantra N. The trunk does spring open, but only halfway, and there's also no grab handles to close it without getting your fingers dirty. However, the trunk space is big. There's a lot of space, the space is very generous, and you can also fold down the seats 60-40 split. Compared to the lower trim, those ones you can only fold the rear seat down as one big piece, so this definitely gives you a lot more flexibility in terms of cargo storage and passenger configurations. Under the hood is, of course, a hybrid powertrain. This uses a 1.6-liter naturally aspirated Atkinson cycle 4-cylinder engine paired with an electric motor that's integrated into the transmission. The engine itself produces 104 horsepower and 109 pound-feet of torque, and the electric motor produces 43 horsepower and 125 pound-feet of torque. The combined total output is 139 horsepower and 195 pound-feet of torque. Power goes to the front wheels only, but what's interesting about this Elantra Hybrid is that it actually uses a dual clutch transmission. It uses a 6-speed dual clutch transmission. This isn't, of course, designed for sportiness. Instead, it is built for more efficiency. Alright, jumping inside the Elantra Luxury, you get leatherette seating and also the option between a light gray interior like what we have here or a black interior. Now, I am fully aware that this light gray interior might get dirty easier, but I also really like this color combination. It brightens up the interior and still have a decent amount of two-tone here, which is great. Particularly, I like the cloth materials on the back of the front seat here. I think it's a very nice design touch. It even looks a little bit like denim, which I think it's just very nice looking. Space-wise, it's great here. Headroom, I have enough, and legroom, I have ton of them. For reference, I'm 5'9". The issue I have here is that for some reason, whenever I'm getting in and out of the rear seats, chances are I will hit my head on the C-pillar. It's something about the roofline and the C-pillar. Maybe it's just a little wide, maybe the roofline is a little low, but every time I get in, chances are I'm hitting my head right here. And it's just not great. So definitely something to test out for yourself before buying your Elantra. The two-tone interior once again looks really nice up front. it sort of wraps around the driver side, which makes this a little driver focused, and I think it looks pretty cool. But what you'll notice because of that is that the passenger side door panel and the driver side door panel is actually two different colors, which is quite interesting. Still, plenty of physical buttons everywhere around me, which is great. And for this trim, you get a sunroof, Bose sound system, and also dual 10.25-inch screens. Unfortunately, this Elantra does not come with Hyundai's latest software that you would find in, say, the Kona, the new Tucson, or the Santa Fe. It runs the last generation software, which still works fine, but it doesn't have wireless Apple CarPlay or wireless Android Auto. Bit of a bummer here, but oh well, it is what it is. Alright, now let's go for a drive. So I would say that one of the biggest competitor this Elantra Hybrid has is the Civic Hybrid. That has about 200 horsepower, whereas this only has 139, which means there's a 60 horsepower deficit. But does it really feel like 60 horsepower deficit in the real world? Definitely not. Let's come to a stop, floor it off the line. Leave it in eco even. It actually goes. It's not fast, obviously, but it feels a heck of a lot more than 139 horsepower. Even when you're on the highway accelerating at highway speeds, it still doesn't feel like a 60 horsepower deficit. Maybe a 30 horsepower deficit, but definitely not 60. Perhaps it's the directness from the DCT. It just feels like you're accelerating a little bit faster than you really are, and it's pretty cool. Overall, I have a pretty good impression on this hybrid powertrain. The engine turns on and off frequently and fairly seamlessly as well. There's no engine droning, unlike Toyota hybrids, because it doesn't use an eCVT transmission. You also can drive this vehicle in pure EV mode, depending on the situation. The car will do it itself on highway at highway speeds. The electric motor itself does have enough power to coast and maintain speed at highway speeds, which is great. Additionally, you also have battery gauges and energy flow charts, so you can geek out on what the car is doing at all times, which I must say I do enjoy doing quite a lot. The brake pedal also feels fairly natural through the transition between regen braking and real braking, so that's also very good. With that said, when the car is cold, the DCT does feel a little bit clunky and a little bit jerky at times, but once it warms up, overall it's really smooth. So $2,500 premium for the hybrid powertrain. Obviously you want to make your money's worth through fuel savings, but can you? Over the period of my testing, the weather has been around the 10 degrees Celsius mark, so I didn't need to turn on the AC, nor did I need to turn on the heat. On the highway, I was able to manage just under 5 liters per 100 kilometers, which is a little bit better than what you would be able to do in the non-hybrid gas standard engine, but not by that much. So if you do a lot of non-congested highway driving, it's probably not worth it for you. In the city, I was able to manage about 4 to 5 liters per 100 kilometers, which is around 3 liters per 100 kilometers less than the non-hybrid gas engine. So if you do a lot of city driving or congested highway driving, you will eventually be able to make your monies back, but it will still take a bit of time. I think if you're getting this hybrid powertrain purely for the gas savings, you'll have to play a very long game. But if you see it as a way to get an upgraded engine with a little bit more power and it being a bit more efficient, then in my opinion, it's much easier to justify it that way. Let me know down in the comments below what your thoughts are on this. Handling wise, this Elantra is perfectly acceptable for most people, but the Civic Hybrid does have the upper hand. It feels more driver focused and more sporty, so if you're in for something that is more driver oriented, you should pick that one instead. However, compared to the other Elantra trims or the lower trims, thanks to the multi-link rear suspension, this drives a little bit better and rides a little bit better compared to those. Overall, it's a very comfortable car to get from point A to point B. In terms of safety features, this being one of the higher end Elantras you can get, it has all that it's offered. So that includes things like emergency braking, blind spot warning, lane departure, lane centering, adaptive cruise control, and so on. Also, as with most other Hyundai products we've been testing over the past year or two, the ADAS systems work really well. The adaptive cruise control brakes early, the lane centering track lanes very well, so I have no complaints at all. So all in all, aside from the looks and maybe the lack of wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto, I think that this Elantra Luxury Hybrid makes an excellent compact family sedan that returns great fuel economy. However, a slight problem is that the Civic Sport Hybrid is only about $2,000 more. Sure, you're still getting a little bit better equipment on this Elantra, like a Bose sound system and a bit more leatherette surfaces, but Honda has a stronger brand name, better reputation for reliability, and on paper, it does have 60 more horsepower. Do you think people will still get this Elantra Hybrid, or would they just spend the extra $2,000 and get the Civic Hybrid? Let me know down in the comments below what you think about this. Anyway, that's all from me today. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.